Welcome back to Tech Yes City, and today I've got a new meta for you guys. A meta is basically most effective tactic available. It came from MOBAs when they released updates and they changed heroes, and then there was new strategies that were more effective. So when it comes to used parts hunting, we're going to start using that word and what's the most effective tactic available to pick up them deals. So now this all came about because my brother wants to finish off his Corsair Bulldog. And basically the Corsair Bulldog only comes with a mini ITX motherboard, in this case it's a Z270 from MSI, comes with a cooler as well, a 120mm cooler, and a small form factor power supply, and you also get the case. But it doesn't have a hard drive or an SSD, it doesn't have DDR4 memory, doesn't have the CPU and the GPU. So I've already sold him a GTX 1080 Ti, so now he just needs a CPU, some DDR4 memory and an SSD. And so I thought to myself, with the prices of DDR4 memory being the way they are at the moment, why don't we just check out good old Gumtree and see if we can find a deal. Now, if you're gonna go out and buy DDR4 memory, honestly guys, just save yourself some money, go outside, grab a hose, and just hose yourself down, because that's exactly what you're gonna get if you go out and buy brand new DDR4 memory at the moment. So with that, I thought, go look for some deals, see what we could find, and this came up straight away, 1,000 Australian dollars, and now of course, you're not gonna pay the asking price, so it had 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. Now, this would cost about at least $1,000 in Australia at the moment. It's ridiculously expensive, but it also had a 6700K, a Z170, a Corsair 780T, and a 1000 watt power supply, and a 250 gigabyte SSD, and a cooler on the actual CPU itself. So I thought, damn, my brother, he could pull out the 6700K, the memory, and also the SSD, and that's practically his whole build done. And then I could use the rest to do some really cool stuff. And I'm thinking EVGA SR2 motherboard, Corsair 780T, 1000 watt power supply, we could do something with the parts left over. Now, he offered to pay 600 Australian for all those parts he needed, the memory, the CPU, and the SSD, and that's a bargain. And I said, okay, all the extra I get to keep, but I'll get a deal on this. So I offered the guy initially 750 Australian. And he came back like almost straight away with 850 Australian. So I knew he was keen to sell. So I came back with 780 and I held on that and he accepted. So now we're gonna go outside and go pick this beast up and see exactly what kind of a deal we're getting. So we just got back now from picking up the 780T that we picked up with all this hardware inside. So it's got a cooler master, looks like a TX3 cooler. We've got a 6700K, 32 gigabytes of memory as well, DDR4 memory. In Australia alone, I think this is like $500 on its own at the moment. DDR4 memory is just a rip-off at the moment. That's why I went to go out and buy this PC, was this memory here. So it's actually, I just checked it out before, it's 1.2 volt, 2400 megahertz too. So it's really good stuff if you're into overclocking memory manually, as you'll be able to up it to 1.35 volt. Hopefully we'll at least get 3 gigahertz out of it. And then we've got the graphics card here. This is the reason why I believe this whole build was cheap. There was a HD 7970 in there. And so generally when people go to buy PCs, they look at the graphics card first because it's the most important thing for gaming. And they probably saw the 7970 and they're like, oh, this thing ain't gonna play games too well, like PUBG and stuff. So they probably moved on. Yet the whole case itself, the 780T, I believe in Australia this thing goes for like 250 AUD. It's a very expensive case, and the reason I'm just like over the moon about this whole deal at the moment is because I'll be able to, I believe, put the SR2 inside this case. So I think I've found the case for the dual Xeon build that I was going to do on the channel. So this is the first piece here. We've also got down the bottom here a 1000 watt power supply modular as well. This is the RMX 1000 watt, really good power supply. Awesome, I'm glad that that came included with the build. And of course we've got a Z170 Pro Gaming, I think, from ASRock. So that's a pretty good board on its own as well. Hopefully I'll be able to get maybe even an AliExpress 4-core and drop that in, the QHQG or something like that. So also included was a 250 gigabyte SSD from Samsung and Evo. And man, I really can't believe the value we're getting out of this. So this is just a really good new strategy. If you guys are into bargain hunting, then seriously don't rule out the X99 systems or these Z170 systems, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to be selling these to upgrade their PCs, even to pre-builds, because this may have been a pre-build itself, but I kind of doubt that with all these scary cables. But upgrading, people are looking to upgrade, and with that, they probably don't realize that DDR4 memory is so expensive. They probably just think the new graphics cards and all the latest and greatest stuff is adding to the build of like a 2K plus PC, and they're letting bargains like this go for next to nothing. So I'm shocked. I mean, even if you were like just wanting to build a new PC, you could take this graphics card out, clean up this whole PC, give it a Tech Yes City cleanse, and you would have an awesome gaming PC for like maybe 1K USD, and you'd have the latest and greatest IPC, and they've even thrown in a Blu-ray player as well. But with that said, let's pull this thing apart, clean it all up, and get things ready. So now here's another awesome deal to top things off. When I was over there, they asked, the guy just said, do you want a monitor? And I was like, how much you want for it? And then he said 100 Australian dollars, which would be like 75 USD. And I came back and just said, just sat there and paused and kind of, literally like 10 seconds, I just sat there and paused. And he's like, $50. And I'm like, okay. You know, when you get the sense that someone's desperate to sell, that's when you're in a position of power. So I was in a position of power here, picked this monitor up for 50 Australian dollars. It's a 1080p Asus 27-inch monitor. So that's a crazy deal for the money. So that was just to top everything off on the awesome deal we already got. There's all those parts, they're looking brand spanking new after a proper Tech Yes City cleanse. We used the brake cleaner, we used all that degreaser, and the degreaser is really cheap. I went overboard this time because I didn't have much brake cleaner, but I had a lot of degreaser. So I used that to clean up the majority of the parts. And that graphics card, that 7970 was just so filthy and dirty. So that got a proper cleanse as well. That's looking like brand new. That 780T is going to go really well with the build that I've got planned for it. We're gonna drop that SR2 motherboard in that case, gonna make it fit. And we've also got the 1000 watt power supply now to boot with that. So we've got 2 extra pieces that we picked up on a bargain. So all these parts, they costed me 230 Australian dollars because my brother, he wanted to kit out a 6700K, like I said before, an SSD and some DDR4 memory, and he got a really good deal. So he's paying $600 towards this build to get those pieces, and I'm getting the rest, sort of like a reward for my hustle. And so I got a really good deal, 230 Australian, which would be like 170 something USD for a monitor, 1080p monitor, 1000 watt power supply, Corsair 780T case, a cooler, a Z170 Pro Gaming motherboard, and also a 7970. And a Blu-ray player too. So that was just an incredible bunch of deals. The motherboard even had the sticker on it. So got some cool B-roll where it looks like it's brand new. So that's awesome as well. Hopefully I'll be able to get an AliExpress 4-core 8-threaded Skylake CPU for cheap, like a QHQG Enjo sample. Drop that in and make a really cool build for you guys. So stay tuned for that. But also one thing that I posted to Instagram as well was a big mistake that I made today when I was cleaning, and that was using tire shine. I accidentally just mistook it for the brake cleaner because they're both blue cans, and I started using it and realized, oh damn, this stuff's a little bit different, and I realized it was tire shine. So we're gonna check out now and see if the HD 7970 still works after using tire shine. So that's such a bummer, like the screen's like flickering and stuff now. I think I might have broken it. I got you, didn't I? I got you. No, it's just the HDMI cable was pulled out halfway. So there we have it. Tire shine even works okay. I just seriously wouldn't recommend it at all. It's just I made a mistake and the graphics card still works okay. But keep in mind I did use the brake cleaner and degreaser after that, so that probably cleaned off any conductive or capacitive chemicals. And with that said, today's parts hunt was just a major success. I hope you guys enjoyed it. New meta to the game. If you guys are in the market for PC parts, then be sure to check out some Skylake builds or some X99 builds, because if you're in the market for new parts too, you can piece out a really good PC on a budget and save a lot of money, especially with DDR4 prices being as expensive as they are. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, then be sure to hit that like button and let me know in the comment section below what was your favorite piece of today's bargain hunt. Love reading your thoughts and opinions as always, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.